know what he's talking about. I'm talking to you about listen here.
Give me this, man. That's my view. Far too complex.
What's this? What?
I'm saying that my view is that reality is far too complex to be explained by any religion. This man, the man there? Yeah, him. I came to him a long time ago, yeah. I wanted to join him. If you like. I think it's interesting. Brother Mansur, I support every
atheist brother here would be a good conversation.
I support every Christian group here.
So I asked him, are you part of the SCDawah? Are you supporting the SCDawah? He says he supports every Christian group.
Yeah.
If you support the SCDawah, I'm sorry, I don't have time for it.
We don't speak.
Sorry.
Okay,
Sorry.
So you just find an excuse, really?
Yes. Absolutely, you're right.
No problem.
How are you?
Yeah, Brother Mansur, we were just talking about like disabilities we were on, isn't it?
Yeah.
Like like children are born with. Sorry, do you want to put down? Is it on?
Sorry, am I discussing with you?
No. Well, yes. I want to question you.
No, I don't know.
William, Simon, this is Brother Mansur. Sorry, brother, I didn't catch your name.
Huh?
Muhammad.
And then we got our brother. How you doing, man? Assalamu alaikum. Yeah, so we were discussing. Yeah, there's a better word about like for example in Islam and how it makes sense and a lot of things I was saying, yeah, right. And then William brought up a good question, I believe, and that is I've heard it before, and that is disabilities. Children are born with disabilities and leukemia, and things like that. And how is that explained in a God format in that sense?
Yeah, I do actually have another question about something.
I'm recording automatically. Go.
I do have another question about something in Islam, and it's
Excellent.
a feature of quite a few different religions.
Can we
I don't
move
know
over
if
there with
you
you,
know
you
so
don't
much
mind
about it. No, it's fine. I'm just interested in it. The concept of jinn. Can you tell me about it?
Yeah. Hopefully.
So, in Islam, we understand that there are other creations besides human beings. Okay? And one of the creation is jinn, who also have the ability to reason, to use their free choice to obey or disobey God. Okay? So these were creation that Allah created before human beings.
Right.
Okay? So interestingly, Shaitan or Satan that you know of, he is of that kind. He is a member of a jinn,
Right.
the class of jinns. Okay? And we are told in various places in the Quran that jinn also has, the capabilities and the powers to do a lot of things. Like when Allah says, Ya ma'shar al-jinn wal-ins, all the group of human beings and jinns, if you're able to, then travel and traverse around the, aqtar as-samawati wal-ard, the far distant areas of the heavens and the earth. But you won't be able to unless it is by the Sultan, by the permission of Allah. That means they also have the ability to even go up, areas that you can't even imagine.
Right.
So these are creation which has a lot of significance in Islam, because among the jinn, they are the ones who can submit to God, Allah, and among the jinns who would not submit to God, submit to Allah.
Yeah.
So there will be the Muslims and there will be the non-Muslims of them. And of course, as you know, people, as we say, the birds of a feather, they happen together? Flock together. Yeah. So the non-Muslim jinns will support the non-Muslim ins, the humans.
Right.
Okay? And you'll find the Muslim jinns praying, and if they want to support the Muslims, if they want to, yeah. So there will be this kind of things that's going around in terms of the reality. So often people see things that they think is quite weird and paranormal, right? They can't explain it by natural scientific explanation.
Yeah.
It's most likely the works of a jinn, which people can't see and capture in a camera, for example. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
So jinns are a creation that were created before the human beings. And when Allah was creating or disclosing the information to the angels that I'm about to create human, as a vicegerent on earth, and they said, are you going to create someone that's going to create a lot of mischief and bloodshed on earth? How did they know this? So our understanding is they knew this from the experiences they have with the jinns, who also had this free will, that they committed a lot of this mischief on this world.
Right. Okay. Interesting. So just some more questions. I don't know if you know or whatever, but are jinn considered the same thing as demons? like in I suppose English.
So if you have a bad jinn acting badly, misbehaving, then people will say this is like a demon, works of a demon, right?
Right.
Because this is what they will manifest as. So a bad jinn, if he does something evil, then people may associate this with like, oh, the acts of a demon.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah. In other mythologies or other belief systems, it could well be that it's actually the jinns, the bad ones,
Right.
who is operating and doing all these things, and people consider them to be evil demons.
Yeah. Right. So
Possible.
how is the form of them described? Like, do they have a physical form?
They're not made like human flesh. They have their own materials of creation.
Yeah.
So we are told they're created from smokeless fire.
Yeah. I've
Yeah?
heard that, yeah.
So their composition is different. But they can, if they want to, they can impersonate a particular form and appear to someone. So this is something that human beings cannot do.
See, interesting. Huh. Are there any accounts, I suppose, in Islamic history of encounters with people possessed by jinn or whatever? You know what I mean?
Lots of information and lots of encounters. People often say that they can bring a jinn along, and you can see. But I haven't personally gone into to view one of these things, or not personally interested to get into this discussion, because we know they exist and we know they have their own lives, and we are not going to trespass their life. Let them live and let us live, and not to trespass or transgress on each other. Yeah. So they need to continue and behave and believe correctly,
Yeah.
and we need to do our own belief and actions. But people have, in the past and even in today, and they claim that they have communication with the jinn.
Yeah.
And they can even bring jinn. Some say that jinn is like that tall and whatever. I mean, there's a lot of literature around it, and people can be jinn possessed, which you've heard probably of demon possession. So jinn can possess another human being, take over the body and make people act differently, and we can do what we call the ruqya, or what's the English word for it?
It's I don't remember.
Some kind of exorcism, right? But it's not the
is,
same. Yeah. So you can actually take the jinn out of your position.
Yeah.
Yeah. There are people who are very immersed in this subject and very knowledgeable. I'm sure you can find someone who can actually get into more detail if you're interested. But personally,
Brother Mansur, is it like a root word for some words in Arabic, like Majnoon, Janeen, Jan?
yeah, jinn, something like what is hidden, isn't it?
Yeah.
I think the root meaning probably is here, something that is hidden from our sight and so on.
Interesting. All right, cool. That's it. Just wanted to ask about that. Thank you.
No problem.
Sound.
Thank you.
Cool. Other questions, John?
That's all right. Where's the other friend of yours gone? Oh, he's gone over there. That's okay.
Yeah, done that.
It's just information.
Yeah, that's good.